This is a Stamperia, Orchids and Cats. This is a whole collection of things that are going to coordinate as you would expect. And what is so fun is just so many things that you can do with them. And here is a card to kind of get you started. And here we go. So if you, like me, are smitten with kittens and love orchids, come play with us. Now, before we get into the projects, I just want to give you a little bit of information. With the die cuts, now the die cuts that Stamperia does are on a heavyweight cardstock, and there are 41 in this collection. So even if you use all the ones that I did in these projects, you're going to find that you've got a ton left. There are 10 double-sided sheets in this collection, ton of cutouts included, and there's also a whole sheet of rub-ons that apply beautifully and effortlessly. So we're going to go back to that first card, and let me show you. And as I said, actually a friend said about smitten with kittens, and I think that's such a great line. And what caught me when I opened up the book is this is the very first sheet in it. And I just love that cat. I think it's just so precious. And yet I wanted to really feature this, but didn't want to take away from the orchid part of this. So what I did is, as you can see on the card, I used this to go on the right-hand side of my 5 by 6.5 inch card. That worked perfectly. So I did actually cut the paper just right along this border and glued it to the right side of my card. And you can see I went kind of right below the cat because I didn't need this part, and I did want to get some of the leaves, so that worked. Then to get on this side, I used the back side of the card, and you can see that, well, I'm not sure that you can see, but I did use the green area, and I did tear it. I really liked that look, and just tore it and glued it to the left-hand side. So that completed my card front. Now, the vase is the die cuts, and also this piece of the orchids is part of that vase. This is a second piece of the die cuts. Let me hold this up so you can see. So I overlapped the top part of this piece with the bottom part of this piece. I did need to use extra sticky tape because those are two slick surfaces. So I used the tape to overlap them and then use foam tape on this part. And I love that arch going over the cat. I just thought that worked beautifully. No message on the front, so this can be for anything that you like. I also wanted to use a border. So on this sheet, it is just full of borders. So you can see that I used this edge and simply glued it around right next to the fold of the card. And that gave me some pink to tie into the orchids and into the vase. So just gave me several areas that are pink. In fact, we've got some little pink right here behind the cat. Now, going into the inside of the card, I'm using the right-hand side of my kitty sheet. And of course, I can't take the whole piece, so I'm starting down here right at the base and going up as far as I can. And you can see I can't go quite as far as the whole piece, but I can go as far there. And then I did tear it as I did the front of the card. And I did also go with another border. So on the front of the card, I used this piece. On the inside of the card, I used this piece, and then I just turned it around so that that little dotted edge is against the fold. So I've got some consistency going on, and I'm going to be using this one sheet again in my third and fourth cards this time, so I'll set that aside. Now, for my greeting, I wanted to do something bold because I could and because there was room. And so I went to something that's called Big Greetings Dazzles, and you can see by the sides of them. In fact, I've used them, I think, on all 4 of these cards. So that's a really good investment for that whole $1.99. So wishing you sunshine, again, is just a really nice generic greeting. And I think sometimes we forget to send a card just because we're thinking of someone, and I know it is highly, highly appreciated, so that's nice to do. So that's what I did. I wanted it to overlap over onto the paper. Again, it just ties them together visually, and that's a good statement to make. So there you go. So we've got things kind of sheltered. My kitty is sheltered under those orchids, and just worked really nicely. You know, something I forgot to tell you, you can see that this edge is looking a little greener than this edge. Well, that's because I failed to tell you something. I did use the khaki ink pad with my blender brush, placing this onto the craft mat, and I just did go around to the edge. And khaki is just one of those so versatile ink pads, and I did go right around the edge of this after I had both sheets of paper on it. So it really shows more where it was lighter, and you can really tell it against the paper before it was inked. So there you go. Okay, now let's move on to my second card, and here we go. This is a horizontal card, obviously. The fold is right here. And I'm going to turn this so that you can really see, and we'll get in closer, so that you can really see the gold that's on here, because I did some spraying with Hunky Dory's Glimmer Mist. And let me have the light catch it. There we go. Okay. So hopefully you can see that. Now I did spray that not only on the card, but also on the die cuts. So, okay. Now, this is using the this sheet. Now this is looking very vertical. However, I used it horizontally. I didn't turn it, although I guess you could, but I did use it just as it presents. And what was interesting, in fact, let me use my time saver, my piece of acetate. In fact, this is exactly what I did. I positioned this because I wanted to make sure I could get both of those edges, or I was curious if I could get both of them. And I could, and that's really kind of nice. Now, I didn't want to chop off the butterfly because I think that I don't want to hurt the butterfly. So I did just kind of bring this down. You can play with that. So that's what I ended up doing, and this was the result. So that worked out pretty well, I think. And it just gave me a really nice bordered piece. And I did go back to my big greetings. You can see You Are Amazing. I thought that the look of the big greetings really played well with the orchids and cats. So that was nice, kind of a timeless look. Now, I did bring in these 4 die cuts. So we've got the bird, it's kind of perched on that arch, got 3 butterflies, and I did tap them with the gold ink pad. Now, again, we're going to get in close so that you can see, and I did the top of the bird. I think you can see there, the tops of the butterflies, all 3 of them, and then I glued them in place. Then I used our Glimmer Mist, and when you use this, you can put this into a box, you can put it into kitchen sink that's lined with newsprint, whatever you want to do, that will work fine. I do find you do want to shake this up really well. You can hear that ball inside. That is mixing up the particles that are inside. And you do want to hold this really a fair distance away from your project. So I would say, I'm not going to spray it. It's okay. It's okay, Jeanette. You don't have to get that far away. And what you're going to find at first is it's going to look dark, and you're going to go, oh my gosh, what have I done? Well, it's okay, because in a moment it's going to dry and it will look just great. It will look all golden and pretty. So that's going to be fine. Now, let me open this up and let me show you what happened on the inside. Now, on the inside, I took another sheet, and it's this one. So on the front, I purposely have white orchids. On the inside, I purposely have pink orchids, and I chose this sheet. Same deal. I played with my acetate that has my card on it, and I did, like on the front, I wanted to capture the border. Now, I certainly could have trimmed this off and added it as I did on the first card, but I decided, you know, why not you know, play my little game and use my acetate and just make one cut. So that worked nicely. And here is my piece. I'm going to pull that back and show you. So just trim this out. Now you kind of don't see the letters because I used another of my greetings, my big greetings. Celebrate being happy every day. So the way this reads is, you are amazing. Celebrate being happy every day. Again, a generic greeting that could be for any reason, any season. And when I did this, I placed the dazzle, then I sprayed this. And again, the same thing. We've got the golden drops everywhere. Then I went back into the die cuts and I kind of matched the art. So I put one here. I put a grouping of 3 here. That was one piece. And then these 2 individual petals matched the art and just put them there. Now, the other thing I did is when I sprayed this when it was open. So I got a little bit of gold up here. Now, if you want to get more gold, don't think of it as an accident. Think of it as just spreading the gold. Okay, you got that, spread the gold. So you can even make more gold if you want to. On the front of my card, my spatters are a little heavier. They're bigger because I was closer to the card. On the inside, I was further away and they're smaller. So get, gosh, I'd say 18 inches away and you're going to get tinier splatters. If you get closer, you're going to get bigger splatters, so it's your choice. You know, you might want to practice on a piece of scrap paper or newsprint, so have fun doing that. And again, you can spray over the dazzle, on top of the die cuts, or you can have them off, so it's your choice. But I kind of like spraying the gold, let it spatter. Got all of that? Okay, now we're going to go to our 3rd card. Okay, here we are, and I'm going to get my note off of it. Now with this one, you can really tell I'm quite a believer in letting the paper do the work. And if you've got die cuts, you've got rub-ons, let them do the work also. Really take advantage of them. So with this, again, 5 by 6.5 inch card, fold this over on my left. I love the idea of letting something overlap, and that kitty tail just called to me to let that go off the edge of my card. So I cut 1/8 of an inch. I wanted to keep it pretty tight because I wasn't sure what I was going to do here. I was going to do something, but I wasn't sure as I was making this. So I cut 1/8 of an inch because I knew that that would allow him. And then I went back to, remember this sheet? Well, I had cut off these 2 pieces, but when I turned it over, I have this piece, which is just lovely. Now, with Stamperia, you only get 1 of each sheet, so you kind of want to plan this out, which is, of course, why you're watching this, because I've already planned out part of it for you. So I cut this, and you can see I started with the base, and at this point, I only had part of this, so I cut right next to that arch, love the arch, and glued this down onto that side, which that by cutting that 1/8 inch, that would allow the total arch to show. So that worked out beautifully. And now just know that even though I have used both edges and I have used the arch, I still have this piece left, okay? I'm going to slide that over to my last card. We're going to use every bit of paper. Now, the cat is going to get glued in place. I want to make sure that that tail is not going off the edge, because otherwise it would break. Then I'm going to go into the rub-ons. And the rub-ons, in fact, let me show you the package. So here's the package. So you can see that the images are duplicated, but of course they're smaller. However, some of them it's the first time you've seen them. So the friends with the paw prints is right here, and I rub them on right there. So with the rub-ons, there is just no mystery. You can see my notes on the back of this sheet of rub-ons. Okay, so what you do Okay, come on. Okay, so this is pulled off. So you just cut out the piece, and you can see that it's on a transparent piece. And you simply place it on your paper and just rub it down. It's really not difficult at all. I'm just using something that was sitting here. Now, it used to be, in times past, really tricky to do this, but that's not true any longer. So you just lift it, and you can see it just transfers effortlessly. Okay, I'm going to put this back. You want to make sure not to just place it anywhere. You want to put just the piece. See, really, I should have cut that off. I'm going to slip this back in the package, because you don't want it just laying around, because you can inadvertently press down on it and transfer it. And that's, you want to make sure that where you're putting it is where you want it to go. Now, notice that, see on the friends here, maybe we can get in closer on that. They are transparent, so they're not opaque. So just want to know that you're going to see through them. So there's butterfly. I put some flowers up here, and I guess that's all on this one. So the friends, the butterfly, that little butterfly, and this arch. Okay. Now on the inside, oh, the other thing I did was to go to this sheet, and you see this wooden strip. I use that as a base right down here. I'm going to use it on the front of the card, and I'm also going to use it on the inside of the card, and notice they line up. So it gives a base for my arch. Okay, then on the inside of my card, I'm using this piece, this area of this piece. Isn't that pretty? So this is going to fill the whole inside of the card. Then, as I said, I've got a piece on the front, and I'm going to do the rest of it starting at the border and going over. Then I'm doing these paw prints, which fit perfectly on that 1 1/8 of an inch. And this circle, I just thought it was really cute, especially with this Life is Better with Friends. I just thought that worked so well. Now, I also added more of the rub-on. So this butterfly went here, then this arch, or excuse me, well, yeah, it's kind of an arch, went right up here, and another little bit right here. So it works well on pattern paper, as you can see. Not as well over the dazzles, because again, they are not opaque, they are transparent. So just something good to know. It's fine. I just, something I wasn't aware of. It's kind of like you can see the friends, and I like it. It's just that it is transparent, not opaque. So that's perfectly fine. If I wanted to, I could have rubbed that on a piece of white cardstock, cut it out, and put it on top. But I kind of like it being transparent against the window. I thought that was a good match. Same thing here. So I thought that was really sweet, and the colors, of course, worked perfectly. So that was nice. And I still have all of those rub-ons left, so that's nice. They go a long way. Okay, now we're going to go to the last card. And in this one, get my note off of it for you. Again, you can see I was on a roll here with things going off the edge, so that was fun. Now, with this, I have my fold at the top, and we'll get in a little bit closer just so you can really see this. And I measured 1 inch from the left and made a mark, and then drew a line down to the opening edge. And then on the right-hand side, I went 2 1/4 inches and went down. So it's not even. It's 1 inch and 2 1/4. And then I cut out that piece. And then I had this flap. So with this flap, I used this paper, And actually, that's what I do is I go through the papers first and choose the ones that I really love. And as you could tell, I started with the kitten, and go from there. So that's my process. With this, I also used my acetate to kind of decide what I wanted to do. Did I want to go clear down here? Did I want to take advantage of which butterflies? Because I can't really have all three of them. So how did I want to place it? So as you can see, I opted for the 2 and cut out that little guy and glued this to the inside of the card and had it cover the whole base. Now with this, I did use the Velvet Fawn ink pad, and you can tell that it's kind of shadowed on the edge. And the Velvet Fawn, the khaki, they're just two mainstays. They just work so well. Now when you're doing that, you want to fold this back so that you can really get around the whole edge. Now this is just one paper, but look, there's so much richness there that just works nicely. Now I did want to have something underneath that flap, so I used one of the many cutouts that is in the package or in the pad, and I used this one. And I chose that one because it too has a butterfly, because it also would fit very nicely. And I added more of the rub-on. So this little circular kitty is right here. And I also added this little flower right there. And even though they are transparent, that tan color does show very nicely. So that was nice to see. And also this brown, or this brown cluster is what I put up here. So that worked nice. So that's more information that when you get into the darker tones, they're going to work beautifully. They're not going to disappear against a patterned background. So that was nice. The Sending Smiles, well, that is our Dazzle collection. You get these in black, white, gold, and silver. And that worked well. I like the white. You've got white going on here. I also like the fact that it's hidden behind this flap. Now, what are we going to use on this flap? Well, remember our sheet that we used here, and we used the 2 edges. Well, I still had this area right here. So that area can be used right here. So you can see nothing goes to waste, okay? So that fit perfectly. And I love the fact that I've got horizontal lines down here, but I've got vertical lines right there. So that worked nicely. Plus, it allowed me to let the little bum of my kitty pop out over here and let it go over this doily die cut. Let him go. So same thing, attach it right here with extra sticky tape, foam tape it here. This is glued down, and these are glued down. So it worked very nicely. And that just took care of this. So I hope you like the projects. And so Orchids and Cats. Now we did have some Orchids and Cats by Stamperia a couple years ago, I'm thinking. But they were the 12 by 12, as I recall. And it's nice that they came up with the die cuts because they do such a great job of them, and the rub-ons, and the 8 by 8 size. So we do have a money saver, of course, because we always do. They are over on the right-hand side of the screen. And if you are watching us on YouTube, I hope that you will like us, that you will subscribe, because we love to have our membership grow, and head on over to paperwishes.com, because that's where you'll find the money saver. I've written instructions for all 4 cards down below, and that will give you all of the dimensions and so forth, in case you didn't write them down as I was giving them to you. And I do so appreciate your popping in and sharing this with us. You know, we are one of the few companies that not only will we find product and sell it to you, but we'll also show you and give you ideas of how to use it. And that brings us pleasure, and we hope that you enjoy the things. And I want to thank you so much for being absolutely the very best part of paperwishes.com. We'll see you next time. I forgot to show you, this is a printout of what you'll see on our website. These are all of the 41 die cuts. Just wanted to give you, kind of an extra close look, but you'll see it on the website, so there you go. Bye-bye.